Happy New Year, everyone. I know it is not the first episode of Daily Betslip of the new year. I believe, Peter, I think you went live. You and Reed went live, or you and Ben, someone went live yesterday.
Yes, sir.
But it's my first episode of Daily Bet-Slip of 2023. Happy New Year, everyone. As always, we got some picks to get through. We got college basketball tonight. I got a couple NHL plays. Peter, you're looking at the NBA. And then, of course, we're going to give our early leans for Week 18. One of the toughest betting slates on the sports betting calendar is betting on the final week of the NFL regular season because you have no idea who's playing, who's not going to play, if teams are going to try. I always thought teams never tried to lose in the final week. But remember a couple years ago, Doug Peterson played Nate Sudfeld for the Eagles against Washington. So that proved that, sometimes teams will try their best to actually lose in the final week. So, we're going to give out some early leans for that in games that are important because those are probably the ones you should focus on if you're betting on Week 18 in the NFL. And then Kansas against Texas Tech, game of the night. We're looking at college basketball. Should be a fun game. Texas Tech not ranked, but certainly could be. I think Kansas is number 3 in the country. Happy New Year, my friend. Let me ask you a question. Are any of your teams going to win a championship in 2023?
Maybe the Yankees. Maybe. The Knicks won't. The Broncos I'm not even going to mention.
I thought the Knicks might be back. Are the Knicks not back?
No, the Knicks might be back. I just don't think they're not going to win a championship. I think they're they'll make the playoffs this year, but they're not winning a championship. Not yet. That's it's coming down the road. We'll get there.
All right. I know none of my teams will. The Leafs will lose in the first round, as always. I have no doubt in that. All right, let's get to some community picks. We got a few for tonight to get through. Let's just dive right into those here. If we can bring up the first one. Cody Wells, Mississippi State at Tennessee under 123. We are both on the same side for this one. Not a pick I'm giving out on the show today. I give it out on Vegas Insider earlier today. I like the under in this game as well. This is an all-time defense versus defense game. First and fourth in defensive efficiency. I see Cody Wells is throwing adjusted defensive efficiency at us there, which is first and sixth. But two extremely good defensive teams, two offenses that aren't that hot, low total, but I don't think you should be afraid of it. So Cody and myself are on the same side for this one. Mississippi State and Tennessee under 123. Peter, you sticking?
I love those breakdowns from Cody every time. He convinces me very easily to tail his picks.
Yes, shout out to Cody. All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's bring up the next one. Rangers money line. This comes in from drink more water, get more sleep. There's a nice New Year's resolution for the people out there. If you haven't made one, follow this guy. Drink more water, get more sleep. At hugheart_Michael. Rangers money line. That is the New York Rangers taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Rangers plus 106 home underdogs. Game of the night, I would say, in the NHL. I am staying away from betting on this one. If I were to bet on this one, I would take the Hurricanes, actually, minus 128 favorites. The Hurricanes, Peter, I don't know if you know this, 11 straight wins inside the NHL. The Carolina Hurricanes. They were on my preseason pick to win the Stanley Cup. It is looking as good as it ever had or has. And so I'm sticking with them. I think they're the most complete team in the NHL, offensive, defensive. They're getting some good goaltending. You can still bet on them to win the cup at 8-1. So I'm going to be on the opposite side, or at least I would, but I think the odds are set about right. I think the Rangers do deserve to be slight home underdogs. It looks like I think Igor Shesterkin is the net for them, who has been better on the road than at home, which makes me a little bit nervous in this game. Let's see if I can confirm some. Igor Shesterkin is likely for the Rangers. Any thoughts on the Rangers?
It's weird. This is a Knicks thing, too. Not winning in Madison Square Garden for the teams who play their home games in Madison Square Garden. The Knicks are I believe 500 or a game under 500 at home this year. Igor Shesterkin's been worse at home than on the road this year. Don't get it, Ian. Doesn't really make sense to me. But the fandom of me would want to take the Rangers here, but as you know, I'm not a hockey guy, so I will not give out NHL betting advice and tell anybody. So if you're leaning to the Hurricanes, that's probably the way I'd lean as well.
Rangers 8-7-4 at Madison Square Garden this season, 12-5-2 away. What happened to the magic of MSG?
Listen, the Knicks have been terrible at home the last 2 seasons. It doesn't make any sense to me. They were so great at home the pandemic year when nobody was in the building. I don't know if it's people get up for playing in Madison Square Garden, like the aura of it. So you get opposing players playing their best games of the year. But yeah, very weird. Very, very weird.
Well, my Maple Leafs are 0-2 at Madison Square Garden, the 2 games I've gone. So it's a cursed stadium for me too. Let's wrap up community picks. I think we just got one more. I think maybe. Eric at EMH1729, Kansas State. Okay, we have 2 more, I think. Kansas State +9. This is Kansas State taking on Texas. Tonight has Kansas against Texas Tech and then Kansas State against Texas. Don't get confused. 2 different games. I'm not giving out a pick for this game on the show, but I do have a pick for it. I wrote up the preview for this game over on FanSided. I actually like the over in this game. 2 teams who have pretty good defensive numbers, but they play at a high pace of play, and they're both pretty solid offensively. So I actually like the over in this one. I think it's 134.5. Kansas State +9 isn't a terrible look either, but Texas has looked fantastic this season too. I think both teams are 12-1 heading into tonight. Kansas State not ranked though. Kansas State's had a fairly easy schedule so far. So that's going to be an interesting game. I would, if I were betting on the side, I'd probably take the points with Kansas State, but I love the over a lot more in that game. So I like the over, but I don't hate the Wildcats there. All right, let's we got one more, and then we got one in the chat here that we're going to get to as well. So let's bring up the next one. Sean Daly at Daly_Moneyline. Syracuse.
Yes, sir. Basketball.
Syracuse -9 against Louisville. I'll save my thoughts for that because that's going to be my first pick that I'm going to give out. So I'll save my thoughts on that. Let's bring up the pick in the chat from Paul Camarda, who I think is Chips Picks Daily, who did not send in a pick today. So I'm guessing, I think this is Chips. I think they're getting in their pick on the chat since they didn't send it over Twitter. Confirm. Paul, if you're Chips, confirm. If you don't mind giving up your identity. Coyotes Panthers over 6. -145. Both teams top 10 in shooting percentage since December 1st. Both teams in bottom 10 in goals against game played. Over 6 is 7-3 in Coyotes. Last 10, 6 or more. 12 of last 15 in Florida games. He says, "Dude, blowing up my alias." I think Chips. I think you blew yourself last week on the show last week. But sorry. I mean, you could have just denied it. I mean, that could have worked. You could have said I was a liar. So yeah, his alias has been completely blown up. Chips Picks coming in with the over, and the Coyotes Coyotes and Panthers. I like that pick as well. People know that I've been trying to bet on the Coyotes several times this season. The latest was last week against the Maple Leafs. I took the Maple Leafs puck line. I think I'm like 0-10 betting on against the Coyotes, and the reason why is because they have such a high shooting percentage. They only get like 20 shots a game, but they score on 4 of those 20 shots. So I think the only way to bet Coyotes games moving forward might just be to take the over because they're too shitty everywhere else to bet on them. They shoot too well to bet against them. So yeah, you might just want to bet on the over. So I do like that pick. Chips, Paul, whatever your real name is. There you have it. A little bonus community pick coming in through the chat. Let's get to our best bets for tonight. I'll start us off, Peter, since this is the last pick that we got to there. From the tweets. It is Syracuse. I'm also going to take Syracuse -9. Why? Because Louisville absolutely sucks. One of the worst, I would say, in my history of watching college basketball, the worst Power 5 team I've ever watched.
Whoa.
Yeah. Power 5 team. From a Power 5
team. I'm trying to think if there was a worse. Boston College was really bad for a good stretch.
Yep.
A few years ago. You think they're worse than that? I think they won like 2 or 3 games one year. Possibly. They were bad.
Possibly.
I don't hate that though. Louisville's terrible, man. They're terrible.
2 wins on the season. The wins are against Western Kentucky and Lipscomb or someone. They suck. Let's read off, and it's not like they're getting bad luck because let's read some stats here. 320th in effective field goal percentage, 356th in turnovers per possession, 291st in defensive efficiency. If any time they're going to be a single-digit underdog against another Power 5 team, I will just take the other side. Syracuse, not exactly an elite team. I don't really have any stats to like brag up about Syracuse. But Louisville sucks. You look at this extra scoring chances per game stat that I've looked at quite a bit this college basketball season, -6.2. So not only do they just suck at putting the ball in the hoop and preventing the other team from doing so, they're also just giving the other team almost an average of 6.5 extra scoring chances per game, which is not good. So Louisville, bad no matter what area you want to look at them. I'm surprised that they're only a 9-point underdog. People still have faith if they're not as bad as their numbers show. I say they are. I will take the orange. I just drove through Syracuse yesterday. Give me Syracuse -9 against Louisville.
I love it. I love it. I agree with you. I'm on the same side on that one. Can't bet on Louisville.
Can't do it. Won't do it. I actually did one. I think like their fourth game this season. I think I did, and I will not do it again. So go ahead. You have three NBA plays, one player prop, two sides. Start wherever you want.
I'm going to start with a prop. Ian, we're 5-0 sweep yesterday. I'll be honest. I was saying on the show yesterday, I was cold as ice. I stunk on Christmas. I took like a day off and the in-between between Christmas and New Year's because I was getting so frustrated with myself. Terrible. It was terrible. And then I swept yesterday. I'm like, I'm back, baby. Why not? Let's do it. That's it. That's all it is. So I'm going to start with the player prop. I'm taking Domantas Sabonis over 20.5 points tonight. Kind of a higher line for him. He's only averaging 18.6 points per game this year, but the matchup is what I love. So the Kings played the Jazz a couple days ago. They played them on December 30th. They won on a last-second shot by Kevin Huerter at 3. But Sabonis was unbelievable in that game. He shot 12 for 12 from the field, scored 28 points. In his last 9 games, he's scored 21 or more points in 6 of them. So he's been putting the scoring numbers up. But the big thing I look at in this game, Utah, early in the season when it was first in the Western Conference and everybody's like, oh, man, are the Jazz actually good? They're playing really good offense and pretty good defense. They're now 27th in the NBA in defensive rating. In addition to that, they are the worst team in the league in points in the paint allowed per game. They're giving up 56.2 points per game in the paint. Domantas Sabonis does most of his work in the paint. He's going to dominate this Jazz front court. So 20.5 after getting 28 the last time he played them just a couple days ago. I love this for him. Also, real quick, Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk are both questionable in this game. So if one of those guys sits, that's going to be open up shots for somebody. Why not Sabonis when he's shot 12 for 12 against them the last time they played?
There you go. Domantas Sabonis over 20.5 points for Peter's player prop of the night, coming off a 5-0 sweep last night. I'm going to switch things up to the NHL, to the ice. I got 3 picks total. One of them I wrote up on fan side of that. I'm not going to go in the show. The other 2, let's start with the Calgary Flames, -135 against the Jets. I think the line has moved, if I'm just going to check that here quickly. But I have lost some money betting on the Flames this season. I had high hopes, and they did stumble off to the start of their season a little bit. But I do have high hopes that they're going to turn things around in the new year. And also, no, they are still available, -135 out there. Over their last 10 games, they rank, I think it's second in the NHL in Corsi percentage. Jets all the way down at 19th. The Jets keep getting bailed out by their goaltender, Connor Hellebuck. I don't think that is sustainable, especially because over their last 10 games, they rank 20th in expected goals against. So their defense has not played well. I think Calgary can take advantage of them. I think Calgary is going to get hot. I think I bought in on Calgary a little bit too early, but I think they're going to go on a run at some point in the second half of the season. It's just a matter of when. I think it could start tonight. Slight favorites in Winnipeg. I'll take the Flames -135.
Don't
all right.
mind it at all.
You got 2 NBA play. You got 2 NBA sides. Let's hear your first one.
Yeah, let's stick with the Kings and the Jazz games since we talked the Sabonis prop. I'm taking the Kings +3.5 here on the road against Utah. I know they played a close game in their last matchup. Obviously, finished 126-125 on that Huerter game winner. But Utah, despite a 12-6 record at home, really struggling as home favorites. 4-7 against the spread so far this season as home favorites. Kings aren't great on the road as road dogs. Are 6-6 against the spread. But I think it comes down to, you look at where these two teams match up. Very similar offensively, but defensively, like I said, Jazz are 27th in the NBA. Kings have been one of the more surprising teams in the league this year, but they've been consistent with it. They've been in that top 5-6 range in the Western Conference all season long. I think they beat the Jazz up big time in the post again with Sabonis. Just 3.5 points is too many. I think this game, I kind of had it closer to a pick 'em just because of how the last matchup went. So I'll gladly take the 3.5 with the Kings. This line's actually moved in favor of Utah, which I think is absolutely nuts. If you've watched Utah, they've lost 4 in a row. They don't defend anybody. So I will gladly take the points with the Kings. I wouldn't mind if you want to sprinkle on the money line as well, but I'll take the 3.5.
You're taking the Sacramento Kings. I will take the Los Angeles Kings.
There we go.
How about that? You got the NBA Kings plus 3.5. I'll take the Los Angeles, the NHL Kings plus 105 on the money line against the Dallas Stars here. I think now is the time to bet on the Kings is when they don't start Jonathan Quick, because Jonathan Quick has not been good for them. The once legendary Stanley Cup winning goaltender has sucked, to put it lightly. So far this season, Jonathan Quick in 23 games has an .884 save percentage. It has cost the Kings plenty of wins. Thankfully, tonight the King it looks like, not confirmed yet, but it is likely that Phoenix Copley is going to start, or Phoenix Copley is going to start, who's been a lot better for the Kings this season. 8-1 in 9 starts and a .905 save percentage. Still not mind-blowing numbers, but they don't need to be for the Kings, because the Kings have been largely outplaying teams. For example, third in expected goals against over the last 10 games. I think their defense can shut down the Stars' offense. I think Copley, since he's in net, he can do the rest. He can do enough for the Kings to win. Do not bet on the Kings when Jonathan Quick is in net. Fire away when he is not. So slight home underdogs to the Dallas Stars tonight. I'll take a shot at them plus 105.
Jonathan Quick, he's Hamden, Connecticut legend. Jonathan Quick.
Is he a Connecticut guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Went to Hamden High and then Avon Old Farm. So Connecticut legend. Yeah. Have to.
There you go. Shout out. What is it? Hamden, Connecticut?
That's where Quinnipiac is. That's where I went to college, man.
Shout out Hamden.
Got to shout out Hamden. All right, let's get into my last one. We got one more side in the NBA.
Yep.
I'm going to point to the sign now. I was about to point to it before the last one, but the dogs are barking tonight, Ian, because I'm taking another underdog. I'm taking the Oklahoma City Thunder plus 9 against the Boston Celtics. This is one of those situations where I'm betting the number and not the team, because the Boston Celtics are a much, much better basketball team than the Oklahoma City Thunder. But this number is just way too many points for me here. OKC, surprisingly enough, been very good at home this year. They've played 13 games as home underdogs. They're 8-5 against the spread, but I think the more impressive thing, they're 7-6 straight up. So they're winning games as home underdogs more often than they're losing, which to me is unbelievably impressive for such a young team. The Celtics team has been fantastic. Number 1 offense, number 1 net rating. They've been great this year. But on the road as road favorites, they've played 15 games. They're 7-8 against the spread. They're actually minus 3.4 points on their plus minus against the spread in those games. So they're not really covering as road favorites. So you get this matchup here. They played already once this season in Boston. Thunder lost by just 4 points, 126-122. I just think this is a spot where OKC has had some ups and downs. They got blown out in their last game by the Sixers. But I think this is a spot they bounce back at home. Young team plays a lot better at home. As 9 points is a ton of points to be giving a Boston team that after this hot start, like I still think the Celtics are a little overvalued. They had such a great start to the year where books kept, they're getting lines where they're double-digit favorites against some of these teams, whether they're at home, on the road, doesn't matter. I think they're starting to regress a little bit back to the mean. They're on a road trip. They already lost to Denver on this road trip. 9 points, just too many for me. I could look stupid if Boston has a really hot shooting night, but I just think the Thunder are too good at home to give them 9 points in this game.
All right. The dogs are barking tonight.
Have to be.
Give me a couple barks.
I got you.
There we go. Unreal. All right. There we go. So that's I think that's our best bets for tonight. Let's go ahead and bring up the recap. New year, new me. I'm not going to forget about the recap, so let's bring that up. Flame minus 135. The only non-underdog in the night in terms of sides. No, I guess I only have one underdog, so well. Oh well. Kings plus 105 against the Stars for my NHL picks, and then Syracuse minus 9 against Louisville. One dog that will certainly not be barking tonight is Louisville.
No chance. Yeah.
Maybe they cover. If Louisville wins, I will paint my face like a cardinal for the show tomorrow.
Whoa.
Looking at the NBA, you got over 20.5 points for Domantas Sabonis. Thunder plus 9 against the Celtics, and Sacramento Kings plus 3.5 against the Utah Jazz. All right.
Sir. Yes,
Those
sir.
are our best bets for tonight. As always, what we like to do early in the week is give out some early leans for Week 18 of the NFL season. We both got picks for games that are meaningful. There aren't very many of them, but there are a couple. So why don't you start us off? What's your early lean for the final week of the NFL regular season?
Yeah, I like the Seahawks -6.5 against the Rams. Seattle's got to win, and bless you. Wow.
Thank you. Did I get my mute in time?
You did. Rare on show sneeze, though.
Yes. It's good
So,
luck.
but yeah, so I like the Seahawks -6.5 here. Couple reasons why. Seattle has to win and Green Bay has to lose for the Seahawks to get in. Luckily, if you're going to bet on Seattle, Green Bay plays the Sunday night game. So Seattle, no matter what, has the incentive to win this game. There's no chance that they can look up at the scoreboard and Green Bay's up 38-0 and they're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. No, they have to win this game to keep themselves alive. Playing a Rams team that's basically mailed in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. They do not care. They've been eliminated from the playoffs. All their top players are hurt. They've gotten smoked in multiple games recently. The Seahawks already beat them on the road by 4 points. I think this is a game where Seattle rolls. They're going to go pull out all the stops to make sure they win this football game. And I just also think that you have to look, and I know you're probably doing it in the same year, you have to look at the motivation factor this week because there's plenty of teams that have no motivation, no reason to win their game. Seattle is one of the few that does, and the Rams have absolutely no motivation to win. They need to lose this game at this point. I don't even know if they have their pick, to be honest with you, but it doesn't really matter. They have no incentive to win. So I like
Detroit
Seattle here. I think they blow them out. Yeah, so they don't have it anyway, but I think Seattle blows them out pretty easily.
Yeah, interesting one. Seattle was the early season darling. Then they kind of fell off, but then they kind of got their playoff hopes back alive by beating the Jets this past week. Yeah, this is why I hate Week 18 because I hate looking at motivation. I'm a numbers guy, and in Week 18, you unfortunately have to try to figure out what team's motivation is. So, yeah, I don't know what way I'm going to go in that game yet. I haven't locked in my pick for most games yet this week. Might wait one more day to see if we can get some more announcements of some teams playing or not playing. My pick, though, is a pick that I do have locked in. It is for the Saturday night game, the AFC South matchup. Pretty straightforward here. Give me the Jaguars -6.5 against the Titans. I'm going to jump on this one before the line jumps to 7, if it does. Obviously, we don't know for sure if it will, but I don't think it's going to go down. I think if it's going to move any direction, it's going to go the opposite way. So I will take the Jaguars -6.5. This Titans team has fallen apart. Ryan Tannehill not playing or getting hurt effectively, in my opinion, end of their season. Their offense has been terrible. Joshua Dobbs, I think, is announced to start for quarterback again over Malik Willis. The Malik Willis experiment did not last very long. Even this past week, 20 for 39, 232 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not good. 4.9 yards per play. The Titans as a whole over the last 3 games, not good. And the Jaguars getting hot at the right time. I think if there is a candidate out there for last year's version of the Bengals, it is the Jaguars because they are, much like the Bengals last year, are getting hot at the right time. 6 yards per play. They dominated the Titans just a couple weeks ago. I think the Titans are done. And this is the Titans, in my opinion, maybe not as big of frauds this year from last year because they weren't, like, their record hasn't been as good. But this is a team that has been carried by Mike Vrabel, by their coaching. That can only take you so far, especially when you're one of the most injured teams in the NFL. So I think this is the final nail in the coffin for the Titans. I think Jaguars run away with it. They have looked extremely impressive as of late. Doug Peterson has won a Super Bowl. I'll take Jacksonville to win by at least a touchdown.
Like that one as well. I think Seattle, Jacksonville, and Green Bay were my 3 favorites on the board this week.
Yeah, Packers, Lions, I think I might go with the over. I think we might see a shootout on Sunday night. That'd be a fun way to end the season.
I can't imagine Aaron Rodgers losing that game with a chance to get into the playoffs. Especially to the Lions. I'd be in shock if that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they win, they're in. Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
After everything that has happened this season and how bad the Packers and Buccaneers have looked, it looks like they'll still both be in the playoffs. The Buccaneers and the Packers after all this.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Green Bay, obviously Green Bay's got to win, but yeah, it's just absolutely nuts.
All right, let's get to game of the night. It is Kansas and Texas Tech. I think all you need to do is look at the point spread to realize just how close this game is, because Texas Tech not ranked. Kansas, I think, ranked number 3. But the point spread, 1.5 point, depending on where you get it. For our poll that we sent out earlier today, we just did money lines. It's so close. We're both on the same side. I'm interested to see if the poll is on the same side as well. But why don't you go first, Peter? What side are we backing tonight in Kansas and Texas Tech?
Yeah, I know you wrote this preview at Through the Fog, so I'm gonna try and not take any of your points. But the big thing for me that I was looking at this game, I mean, I think Kansas is just a better team coming into this game. But you look at Texas Tech so far; they played 3 games against teams that are inside the top 100 at KenPom. They've lost all 3 of those games. They lost to Creighton, Ohio State, and TCU. Yeah, they've beaten up and they played very well against teams that are below their weight class, which is what you're supposed to do. But Kansas is above their weight class. Very, very good offense. They don't turn the ball over a ton, and they're going to shoot the ball well. So, yeah, Texas Tech is 7th in the country right now in effective field goal percentage. Kansas is 36th. They're also 14th in adjusted offensive efficiency. I just think Kansas has too much firepower in this game between Jalen Wilson and Grady Dick. I don't know if Texas Tech's going to be able to keep up. And I couldn't get past, like, one of my things, I love looking at common opponents. I think sometimes like these college basketball games, it's hard when you have, the beginning of the season when teams aren't playing anybody and some teams are playing tough competition. But to look and see no team inside the top 100 that they've beaten this year, I just can't see Texas Tech upsetting this game.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and that's one of the big reasons I'm on Kansas as well. But the other thing that I was looking at is that Texas Tech does have a lot of issues turning the ball over. 273rd in turnovers per possession, coughing up the ball 19.9% of the time. And I can look past that in some situations, but not in this one, because Kansas does a great job of forcing turnovers. 36th in opponent turnovers per possession, forcing their opponents to give out the ball 22.1% of the time. So I think that's going to make a big difference in what should be a relatively close game. So I think with the points you said, plus the turnover department, I'll take Kansas as well. And I'm sad to let you know that unfortunately the community is on Kansas as well. So all 3 of us, all on the Kansas Jayhawks. I was really hoping the community was going to be on Texas Tech.
Gonna have to rock chalk Jayhawk tonight. It's gonna be
rock chalk Jayhawk.
Hey, sometimes the right bet. We're all on the right bet. That's what I'm going to say.
Sometimes the obvious bet is the right bet.
There you go. That's the saying.
Sometimes the public bet is the right bet.
Hopefully they don't call me Public Pete for no reason.
That's true. I forgot it. We got to bring that nickname back. We got to bring back Public Pete. All right. There we go. We have a bunch of picks. We had some picks from earlier in the show, and we're also all on Kansas for the game of the night between Kansas and Texas Tech. Give you a few early leans for week 18 of the NFL season as well. I'm excited for the playoffs. I just want us to fast forward through this final week of the regular season, because even the teams that are kind of battling, like, really, to me, I think the only game I really care that much about is Jaguars, just because I like them and I hate the Titans. Other than that, I don't really care. I'd like to see the Lions getting up. But who do you want to see out of the Lions, the Seahawks, the Packers? Who do you want to see in the playoffs? It has to be the Lions, right?
I'd like to see the Lions, but they need Seattle to lose and they have to win. I just don't they're eliminated if Seattle wins that game. So
yeah, but what's your heart? What would you, if in a perfect world, what team would you want to see?
Probably the Lions, just for the fun factor, I think. But I would also kind of love to see Rodgers matched up with what would be San Francisco again in the first round. I think that would be also very funny to see if he loses again to the 49ers.
Who gets the final spot in the AFC wildcard? It is if the Patriots beat the Bills, but we assume obviously
that's the thing. Yeah.
The Bills have something to play for, so I don't.
I think Miami gets it.
Yeah,
but
it should be Miami. I think
they should. I don't know, man. They've looked really bad, and they're not going to have Tua or Bridgewater most likely this week. So,
yeah,
I kind of want the Steelers to get it just for I think Mike Tomlin's the best coach in the NFL. So, I would love to see him get it.
Yeah, he is very good. He is, much like Vrabel has the Titans, Mike Tomlin has dragged the Steelers team along. All right, that is our show. Any final thoughts, Peter?
Let's go Jayhawks. I guess we're all on them, so let's go Jayhawks.
Give me, and dogs are barking. Give me one more bark.
Oh, man.
Oh, come on. That was weak.
That was my secondary bark right there. That was the best one I'm getting.
All right. Like the video if you would please. Give us a subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck with your picks tonight. Gambler bless. I'll talk to you tomorrow.